You can hear from him. Not be here. He's working. Good. All right, it's 7 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Any approvals, additions, or deletions from the agenda? No. I've got two. One for Julie Noel with Veterans Affairs flags on the square. We'll make that J. And then K will be moving the flag at Rommel Park.
Academy.
Yes. Yeah, Rommel.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little louder?
Sorry about that. We're just going to add two to the agenda. Reverence Veterans Affairs flags up here at the square, and then relocating the flag out at Rommel Park.
At Emily, business guest.
Yes, we're going to add Emily as a business guest as well. Sorry, I hadn't assumed that wasn't there. Any others? Has everyone had the opportunity to look at claims?
Yeah.
Can I get a motion on claims?
I'll make the motion. I'll second
All in favor?
it. Aye.
Has everyone had the opportunity to look at minutes from special May 12th, executive May 18th and 21st, and regular May 18th?
Yeah.
And can I get a motion on those?
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Move on to disconnects and extensions. Okay.
I got the letter.
Oh, yeah, you're not currently on here.
But I had something I wanted to talk about regarding it.
We'll jump
then
on
we-
that. Yeah, sorry, we'll jump on that in about middle way through for public comment.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, that's the second one that's on. I put in the notes that there was no name or anything on it. Just they've been on the disconnect list now for a couple months, but the guys haven't been able to locate the meter to turn them off. So that's why the bill's higher. I think we got 2 or 3 like that.
Can I get a motion on disconnects and or extensions?
I'll make that motion for the disconnects and extensions. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to department reports, clerk treasurer.
Not the agenda items. We've got those ordinance reviews again. That Ingrid had dispersed if you guys want to end up talking about those at some point. I listed on here employee handbook changes as well. Again, I wasn't sure if Ingrid was going to be here to go through those or not, so we can hold off on those. Extension for the summer sewer credit application. It's in the ordinance that the applications have to be in by June 1st. The software allows us to do them later. So I'm asking that we can extend that application out until the 20th of this month. That's when we would start billing again, and that's when basically the cutoff of being able to get them in. And making sure we get everyone in, since we kind of had a late start to it. So that's that extension that I'm asking for. Let's see. If you guys look through the packet, I have those maps. That was, Richard had mentioned at the last meeting about property lines and stuff, so that's in there. And I'll go ahead into Public Works as well, since no one's here for that. We got quotes for fuel tanks. That's in your packet. I know that's the fire department side of it, but they also quoted for fuel at the town building as well. We currently have that off-road tank. And then, not really a quote, but an opportunity for changing up companies. But Public Works did have some quotes in there for the mosquito spray. And on those, there's 3 different quotes in here, 2 from the same company. That Clark Mosquito was trying to, had talked to Phil about getting a different type of spray, because you've been saying how if you use the same one over and over, they kind of get immune to it. So that first quote is for a different type of spray than they usually use. The second page, while that looks like a larger quote, there was a highlighted portion that he was quoting a few different things. But the middle one for 2,750 is actually comparable to the last quote from JA Stock. So it's the same type of spray, this just no freight charge and at a lower price. The only thing I am questioning on the mosquito spray stuff is, it was my understanding that you don't need a certification or a license, but then I was reading into other things, and I think maybe we do have to have someone.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you guys want to proceed with that, but just something to be thinking about. And then, Ingrid did put together the resolution for the surplus of property. If you guys want to look at that. And because that one does require a timeline before things can be sold, unless you guys had questions for Ingrid for the next meeting. And then the last thing that I had on there was town vehicle cleaning maintenance. Preston had came to me about washing the vehicles. So he had gotten a quote actually from Crew Car Wash for their fleet options, but it requires at least 50 car washes, which is like 500 a year. But Crew also has those little coupon books. I don't know. I don't know if they have anything inside. Sure.
So you're suggesting we just do it in-house?
I don't know what a book costs, but
Yeah.
It's less than $10 a car wash. And then I think Preston's also looking at maybe getting detailing of the car at least once a year, like full detail.
yeah.
He didn't get me a quote for he got a quote through a text, but he didn't get it to me to so we can push that one off until he gets that quote. But and that's all I've got.
There we go. All right. Nothing from Public Works. Austin hasn't gotten hold of me for anything. You guys have anything from Public Works?
No.
Okay. Marshall, you have anything from Aaron? Okay. Fire department, all I have is the FS Heritage quote, and it's not really a quote, it's just the opportunity to change over to them for fuel. But aside from that, that's all I've got at the moment.
I will say on that, FS, if you guys remember, we talked about before it was gonna be a 500-gallon tank, which looking back at what they use in fuel, really, that would have been maxing
Yeah.
out for the year. But his does give a 300-gallon, which would get
Could
that.
keep that
Mhm.
fresh fuel
Yeah.
going. All right. Moving on to business guests, Gwen.
To let the crops, of course. And one of them I didn't bring in, but maybe you saw in the Benton Review last week, the Dan Patch program.
Yeah.
that we had at the school. But I'd call your attention mostly on the back page. There, it was a wonderful piece written by the anthropologist that was there. And he reiterated to all the kids and to the teachers and me too, that this horse, even though he was world famous and best known in Minnesota, of course, because of Savage, he was our horse. He was raised here. He spent 4 years here before they ever realized that he really could race the way he did. And the fellow who was giving this presentation is also horse trainer and driver and an authority on Dan Patch. And he was saying it was the care that he had here in Oxford by Messner and all the townspeople and the Messner family, everybody in town. That horse was as friendly as Mr. Messner was. And that's what made him the beloved horse that he was. More books, more movies, more articles have been written on Dan Patch than any other horse, including Seabiscuit, which is, we love our Seabiscuit from California, of course. But this book was one of the books that I hadn't been familiar with until this year. The best there ever was, Dan Patch and the Dawn of the American Century. So I stopped over at the library to make sure they had a copy, and they do. And the librarian said, "Oh, I love that book. I read it from cover to cover. It really is the story of Dan Patch." So what I'm interested in, and have been for a long time, is a statue. I'd like one a little bit larger than that, however. This is from, here's one, 1896, 1916, Dan Patch. They only make 4 statues at the Harness Racing Museum and Hall of Fame of horses, 4. And this is one of them. So I started because really, I looked at your minutes, looked at your videos of last time and all the things the town is doing. And it's fantastic. It really is. It's wonderful. The parks, I'm so happy about Old Academia Park and what you're planning up here on the square. And all those things are good. My interest is Dan Patch. So all these, the way I look at it, everybody has their own things that they like. Parks and recreation. I'm not going to be playing pickleball, but great. I'm glad they're doing it. So I'd like to contribute part of the money for a statue. Our farm is on the Templeton wind farm project. So they are compensating us not for towers, but for things going through underground that they can farm over. So I'm okay with that. And that was settled. Then they came to me and they want to do a turnaround. for the trucks. And they offered me some money. I said, nothing doing. And for one thing, they wanted to turn around my best field, which I didn't like. They got to go on the other side of the road. So they agreed to that. Then I said, I still don't think I want this. It's going to be a mess. And there's going to be compaction, even though they say, oh no, it's going to be just like it was before. Yeah, they're going to put everything down and they're going to take it all up. It's going to be just like it was before. So they were offering some more money. And they said, well, and I'm still saying no. And they said, well, what would you like? And I said, I'd like a statue of Dan Patch. And so they talked about that, and they can't do that. They say, we'll give you the money, you take it, because they don't want to get involved. And, so then I started looking for how much would this cost. And so our principal, Corey, and Ellie Hahn both told me, oh, there's a fabulous sculptor in Otterbein. And so I talked to them, and they are fabulous. They've done things at Purdue. They've done the Boilermaker statue, the double size. They've done the wife and husband work together. But the husband is not well, and probably will not be able to continue sculpting. They have a whole line of projects they're going to do, including for Columbian Park, Purdue, north of Purdue. So, but they gave me a price, $175,000 to $200,000. So of course, that's out of the question. I was really disappointed. And my husband started looking around. So I think we can get one. I don't know what the cost will be. What I'm proposing is that I'm going to look into this. What I'd like to know from you is, where would you like it? Would you like it on the town square? That makes all kind of sense to me. It's not you're not gonna have to water it. You're not gonna have to do anything to it. It'll be there on a pedestal,
And where everybody drives by.
Yeah. And people stop at statues. I've got every trip we ever went on, I've got my grandkids in front of the statue somewhere. It'll be a great drawing for Oxford. And the unveiling, when it ever happens, can be really big. Really big. Because until the last 25, 30 years, everybody did know who Dan Patch was. But, every 25 years, you've got a new generation. That's why I felt it was important that we talk to the kids, the school. And it was very well received. They loved it. We're doing just 7th grade now. And we expect and hope it will continue for every 7th grader. We started out with the elementary, and they were too young, And then we did junior high, and that was too many. So a class this year was 130, which was perfect. We really had a great time. So the kids are going to learn. And the reason I'm here is to tell you about it and how happy I am about this.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then to ask you, would you like it in the town square? Because the other considerations would be the library.
Sure.
Another place would be out at the fairgrounds.
Sure.
Because that was where he won his first race, where 8,000 people came.
I think it would be one of those things we'd have to take into consideration size and location, that sort of thing. That's also something we could talk with Discover Dr. Oxford about.
Discover Oxford, because they got a big plan for what they're doing.
Yes, I saw that.
On that.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk to them.
Yeah.
We can, once you have, kind of an idea as to size and all of that.
The life size.
Okay.
And it needs a pedestal and stuff.
Sure.
On the old plan, the original plan, how many years ago was it? 15? No, more than 50. 18 years ago, when the plan was drawn up, it had a statute dam patch plan,
Sure.
but it was interactive. And I don't think that's wise. You don't want kids climbing on it, falling off,
Sure.
especially off the sulky. So I'm talking about just the horse, not the sulky.
Yep. No, absolutely. We'll talk with them
Yeah.
and see what their thoughts are. And
Yeah, I'm on their board. I can make sure we bring that up in the meeting.
Yes, please do. And let me know so I can start to see, what we're going to do from our standpoint.
Are you gonna be in town for a while?
A week.
I got all to Ashley this week. And I'll
Okay,
go-
good.
awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, this was the other. Just one more minute, because I did bring it, in case you didn't see it. This was in the picture.
Yeah.
Really proud of that. But on the back, this is where, Jerry wrote, Savage has made Dam Patch a legend and has generated at least, well, they're talking about how much money it generates.
Sure.
It will help us too.
Yeah.
Bring people here. After all, that is what we kind of hope will happen.
Right.
And, but in the end, he says, to sum up, you could say Savage made the myth, but Oxford made the horse.
That's awesome.
Because see, they start to race horses like 2-year-olds now,
Sure.
which is too soon.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Emily, thanks for coming.
So thanks to Tina for coming to our board meeting, representing you guys and coming and learning about cybersecurity. Hopefully that was very interesting for you. And we're still waiting on my slides. Brent was going to be cleaning those up before we send them out to everybody. Just wanted to kind of put the bug in your ear. Our next board meeting will be on July 30th. And again, we are allowing our board members to bring a guest. And it's going to be at the same location. They're outside of Francisville. And we will be having 2 presenters from AIM to discuss the wonderful SCA1. And since that happens to be July 30th, you're finishing up budgets, but getting ready to work towards your final budget. It's a great time for you to kind of get a better understanding of how that new legislation is going to be impacting some of the great projects and programs that you're wanting to be doing. So I'm going to try and have them tailor their conversation on the importance of capital improvement plans, asset management mapping, and some of those things that are going to be beneficial and crucial as you move forward with SCA1. So tonight, I've got that GAO call data schedule. Take a look at those dates as to who wants to participate on that with our office. Basically what that is just going to give you an opportunity to be open and honest with this company who is providing data to the U.S. Department of Commerce, Economic Development Administration on how you are impacted by your EDA, so for the water project. And if you had any issues in the application, I know Tina, like I said earlier, you're about the only one on council that worked through that entire thing. And so this is just going to be an opportunity for you guys to have a conversation. We will be on also as the EDD to discuss other issues that we may be having to get EDA funds into our more rural communities. And then just tonight, we will be presenting EDA reimbursement number 4. This covers Atlas pay applications number 9 and 10. That those have worked through the county for approval. We are now just ready to sign off on those sheets and get that reimbursement process. We are waiting on one more payment. Typically, we submit our grant administration at time of receipt of those EDA funds. But because there is still enough money in the county loan pot, we can submit that now and include it in this reimbursement and get that funding back a little bit earlier, if that makes sense. So this is going to be for a grant reimbursement of $136,696. So again, that covers Atlas Pay Apps number 9 and 10, and our Curbsy invoice that covers 2 milestones for a total of $16,000. We are inching closer to that 90%. So with that in mind, that's something that Simeon and Riley and Rob and I are going to be kind of watching and just making sure that we can finish things out strong and get everything. So that's what I got for you guys today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, moving on to public comment.
Yay. About the water bills.
Yeah.
I did not pay my on time. It was June 15th, which was a Friday. I came in Monday the 18th to pay it, but of course I couldn't get to the building to hand it to a person because it was locked, so I paid it in the bank. I still got the disconnect notice, and it was dated May 18th. Is there any way we could get some kind of a grace period since this place is locked on Mondays now? And we've got, every few months, we're gonna have an issue with it because sometimes it'll be Saturday and Sunday is when the 15th is.
Sure.
And that usually means historically, it's been Monday is when those water bills get paid. And if the building's locked, how do we pay them? Because a lot of us do walk them over.
Sure.
And it would save money on the letters. It would save outrage. And it just seems like a more practical thing to do because y'all are the only utility we have that does not have a grace period.
Sure.
And I was just wondering if that was possible to do.
Well,
So
good.
the way it works is we're required to give notice for those disconnects, and there's a time frame that has to be done in. So the way we do it is the due date of the bill on the 15th. As soon as the 16th comes, those notices go out that it's late. That is also that notice for the disconnect. If we don't do it at that point in time, there might not be enough time by law to give people for that disconnect to happen. So that's why those letters have to go out. And a lot of times there is an overlap from when those go out and people have already paid, but because we have to get them out in order to do the disconnects, that's where that is. And the very last sentence, I do. The very last sentence on there says that if you've made that payment, you can disregard the notice.
I mean, this is money.
And so your account never got penalties because I did check the bank and I did receive it, but I had already generated the letters.
I'm not quite happy with that answer, but okay.
And that's just, we have to give that time frame.
Right.
What is the time frame?
I believe it's 10 days.
Seriously?
Mhm.
That's kind of short.
And who sets the time frame?
The state.
Another question I came up with during the meeting was, what kind of spray are you using for the mosquitoes? Because, as you may know or not know, I have a lot of milkweed in my front yard, so it's not butterfly caterpillars. And if you're using a spray that's going to kill the caterpillars, then that's a problem.
Okay. I don't know what exactly it is at the moment, just off the top of my head, but the one that they're proposing is obviously different, and we could get that information. I just don't have it. They don't list it. All I've got is Permex, but we don't have obviously right on hand what we currently have and are using.
Because I will say, even though I've had this milkweed out there for a long time, I get very few butterflies in my yard that hatch. If I take them inside, then I can get butterflies. But if I leave them outside on the milkweed to do their thing,
Sure.
it just doesn't happen. And I would like to know if it's something that can be,
I would venture to say, I mean, not saying for sure, but I don't know that they've sprayed yet this year.
well, I'm not talking about this year.
Okay.
I've already got 4 caterpillars this year.
Sure. Right.
And I was just wondering, because, I mean, they hatch out clear through September. Eggs are still hatching. Caterpillars are trying to grow. And so that's what, 5 months of butterflies and eggs and caterpillars and whatnot.
Sure.
And I, honest to God, I do not get butterflies unless I get the caterpillars in my house. The ones that leave outside die.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have an answer for you on what's currently used. I know, like I said, it hasn't been
We can
used
look into that.
this year, but yeah.
And I mean, I realize it's kind of hard to make something that's mosquito specific.
Right.
And I know I'm not the only one in town that raises young people.
Sure.
So,
I just did a quick search, this biomass. It does say that it is a permethrin product with long-lasting residual effects and toxic to monarch.
Oh.
Okay. Well, yeah.
for me, that's kind of the general.
Sure. Yeah, we'll look into what's currently being used or what we have on hand and
And
see.
there's also the dumps. I mean, you guys used those in the past before,
Sure.
you know, making the water so that the larvae can't hatch.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll look into that. We'll talk with Phil uptown and see what they have up there, and we'll go from there. All right.
Thank you.
Yep.
Before you move on, I did want to state also on the water bills, and I know Phyllis, you'd said something about for when the 15th falls on the weekend, that's actually in our ordinance, and it is the next business day that they're due. So if the 15th is on a Saturday or a Sunday, then you have until that next business day.
It could be
But would
Tuesday.
that be Monday when places like up?
No, business day would be Tuesday. Because you're not here,
Yeah.
so it's not,
Yeah.
not open for business, so it'd be Tuesday.
Yeah.
Or Monday holidays too.
Right.
Right, if it's a holiday, yes, it is.
But isn't there gonna be a Dropbox?
Yes, absolutely.
And there is, a lot of people are utilizing the bank night drop too. As long as there's a stub or the account number, that's even more secure than any box that we've had or will have. And then it goes directly into the bank. There's not even the transition of the money. It goes right into the account, and all I'm doing is grabbing that slip later and processing it. So it's no change that way, and it's more secure. So there are, the other ways that can be paid. And if that's paid over the weekend, even if it's after the 15th, all of those are processed before penalties are ran, because we don't know if you put it in there at 11:59 or the next day.
Thank you. Yep.
Mosquitoes, we're worried about pesticides too. And there is something that I've learned from our county of El Dorado. They provided, we have a small pond. They provided mosquito fish. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
They're just little like minnows.
Okay.
And they eat the larvae of the fish, of the mosquito.
Oh, awesome.
And it's done a good job.
Awesome.
But of course, somebody has to put them in. Stand.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, we'll look into that and see what it is that they're what we currently have and go from there. All right. Thank you. Anyone else?
What were the limbs you picked up? There's some that's been sitting for several weeks now.
Yeah.
I think right now they're running into trouble because one is on days training for a job that's gonna be going evenings, and we have two people. Right now, we only have one person here during the day. So
I should be with the new county maintenance, whoever it is. And I mean, things have gone to heck in this town, you know. And just gonna ask, I've heard rumors, does he have another job?
staff thing.
Yeah, I'm not privy to
I've heard
having a
rumors
second job.
That he also worked for Cedar.
We've got more in the agenda as we go that will address the whole situation. So
And the question I had is, when what is the estimate they move into the new building?
Everything is ready aside from Ethernet. So we're waiting on Ethernet to be installed, and we have been for a little while. Once that's installed, then it'll be just getting a hold of internet services install, and then we'll have a date set to be moved in there. So
How long have you been waiting on it?
about a month and a half. Month and a half.
Do you have an idea when they're coming to you?
So they have met with Tina about locations, just to solidify locations, and it's just a matter of getting in to do it. It's just kind of a slow moving process to get everything installed and run through the attic area, and with the stone walls and whatnot. It's not a quick process as to where like a residential home, it's easy with drywall and wood studs. So it's just kind of the slow moving process of getting that implemented.
I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
When they finish picking up the leaves, we still have leaves on Vine Street?
I know, I think when Eli's done working days, he's gonna go to evenings and he'll be here all day.
I just wondered if Austin was taking another day.
No,
Right.
I think those two, they've already talked about that's gonna be one of the first things they do when they get back.
Well, I appreciate that you're thinking about it because, I mean, I've seen a guy out there with a blowtorch trying to burn his leaves, so
Yeah,
Right. people's getting kind of desperate.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, won't be long.
Anyone else? All right.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So we need to, ask the town to look at some maps.
Okay.
Cause there's a discrepancy between some old town maps and the plat maps that show where some alleys are around our block.
Okay.
So I want to show you this. It's just a little easier to show you than to try to describe it. So this is the original plat map that we're looking at. And so the deed describes these two plats cut in half. There's property here and then these two here, and then there's supposedly an easement on the east side of those two plats. This is from the county, and they're kind of showing the same thing here. These two didn't exist back then,
Sure.
but this is showing that. So this is my eastern neighbor right here. It's supposedly showing that there's an easement that runs right through her property.
Okay.
There's like a fence here, and then the church is here. This is 352, by the way, and this is McConnell here.
Okay.
So this is clearly not an acknowledged easement by the city because
Sure.
there's no space there. The easement that the city does seem to acknowledge, so I brought this map. This is a town map.
Okay.
So this town map is showing that there was an old easement here, old alley line, which aligns with where this is.
Okay.
But they are indicating on this map that it was moved in between the two, right?
Okay.
I've got a larger map
This
here
the-
that's kind of blown up here.
This property, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And I put that
So-
in your guys' packet as well.
Okay.
I mean, I have my survey.
Yeah, that's helpful.